Yeah, my name's Dave. I'm 70 years old, and I've been paying for prescription drug D ever since I reached 65. Because when the Bush administration and the drug companies put together prescription drug D, they mandated that you've got to buy it. Now, where were you then? But that's one thing that I want to point out to you. The second thing is, you can go to Canada and buy the same pill for a quarter that you can pay $3 for here. Or you can go to Mexico and buy the exact same pill for 15 cents. The Bush administration came up with a great plan. Said, we have no control over those drugs. They're not inspected. Well, a group of individuals got together and they went to Canada and they bought some. And they went to Mexico and bought some. And they bought some here. They weren't, none of those drugs were manufactured in this country. Every one of them miraculously had the same lots and things on it. And it was manufactured somewhere else. The only people who have made money off of that prescription drugs situation are the representatives and their staff members who push that through on the American public. Right. All of us seniors fall into a donut hole, and we got to pay premium, and we're not getting anything for it. Well, we did get $250 last year, and miraculously, the drug companies are giving us the drugs at half price now. Not because they're a goodness of their heart. It's because they're under pressure. Somebody has noticed that they're ripping us off. This situation of saying the government's doing this, the government's doing that, free enterprise has been raising double-digit inflation on your health care for years. Well, the cost of inflation was going up 4%. Now, what you have is a situation of where were you then, and I don't want to get stuck again. I would rather have it cost incremented across everybody, and everybody pay their fair share, which would be lower. Because if an individual is not sick, he doesn't buy it. That makes a person who's sick have to pay more, and if I pay for my prescription drugs, that's what I do. And I don't take one iota. I do not take one drug, but I have to pay the premium for D. Thanks.
I say look at the Romney health plan in Massachusetts, which was supposed to be the model for what Obamacare gave us. And it's costing too much and not doing the job.
Yeah, you began by describing a problem of government. The cost of health care has been rising primarily because of government. What happens is the government squeezes down. Do you want to listen? Do you want to listen?
Folks, hang on.
The government limits, as I talked about in my remarks, how much doctors and hospitals can charge for how much the government's willing to pay for services that the government pays for. Well, guess what happens? The hospitals and doctors increase the price they charge people who aren't receiving government benefits. That's a fact. If you can ignore me and you can look the other way because you don't like hearing what you're hearing, but that's a fact and you're going to have to deal with it. When everyone is paying their fair share, sir, what's going to happen is that service availability is going to go down. It's the only thing that can happen. You're putting a lid on top of the fish tank and you're pushing it down. The water has to come out. That's what happens. So you're not going to get the nirvana that you're thinking of. And if you don't believe me, get on the internet and ask someone who lives in England. Ask someone who lives in any country that has socialized medicine how it operates over there. Phyllis Schlafly just told you the numbers. 97% versus 15%. That is an enormous difference, and that's what you get with rationing.
I do think one helpful point is, as you said, when the government tries to figure out how to do everything for us, in this case, in case of the Plan D, there is, there certainly is problems. And I think one of the things that we didn't have in Obamacare was addressing the real problems of, for example, lawsuit abuse. Tort reform was never brought up. I think those are the kinds of things we should have had addressed. But I agree with you that when we look back and say there were problems with Plan D, how D was implemented, there certainly were.